Okay, guys, it's been a while since I've done any video content, so I thought I would start doing that again and kind of get going. And still working on like where to put my eye line and what I'm supposed to be looking at with this holder, this thing holding the phone, and all of that. But anyway, the reason wanted to talk just for a minute. Over the past few weeks, I've been talking to two of my bigger mentors and some other folks that are very involved in the startup space and the private equity space. And we're going to start putting together, basically the big reveal is we are going to start putting together a startup accelerator here in this area. And when I say in this area, I mean that doesn't mean, it's geographically limited to Manhattan or the Flint Hills area. We're still working out all those bugs. But basically, just in the natural maturity of the entrepreneurial and startup space here in Manhattan in the Flint Hills area, um, we're just going to see if this is a good time to actually put together an accelerator with some serious private equity behind it, some serious funding. Right now, the basic idea is we're going to try to raise probably $1 million fund to put all this together. Timeline wise, where I'm meeting next week with some startups that are either in various stages of their funding cycle or one that's already exited to talk about the entire cycle, kind of from start to finish and how all that went. And they went through an accelerator program, like kind of what we're trying to put together. I've also been asked to contribute to an accelerator program that's going on in the West Coast right now. So that's kind of where I'll learn. But in the end, you learn by doing. And luckily, there's enough people that have the faith in me to hopefully also have the financial backing to where we can raise this fund and get this accelerator going. Going back to the timeline, um, coming up pretty soon is the Manhattan the startup MHK competition. I will actually be presenting this accelerator at the competition as an entry. So, as weird as that sounds, I will be pitching a competition at a competition. But in the end, that's not so much to win the competition, not to win the startup MHK, but it's really just to be able to get some really good feedback and to tweak any of the bugs out of it and, any holes that are shot in it, patch up those holes for the idea. The startup MHK, the competition itself is in November. So present at that, go through that process, then probably give it about 60 days to kind of work the bugs out and the holes that we found during that process. That'll get us to the first of the year. Then we'll start putting out for startups to start applying for our accelerator. We don't have a name for it yet. I was thinking Flint Hills Accelerator, but that may be geographical limiting. So that's kind of the working title right now. First of the year, we'll start accepting applications for the first cohort and looking at probably a March is the actual start time of the first cohort of this accelerator. And then June will be their demo day or kind of their final part of it, of the final bit of the competition or of the cohort. And that's when they'll really go in front of investors and in front of the general public with their startup ideas or where they are in their startup journey. So that's the very, very broad strokes of this thing. Alongside of that, I'm also still raising funds for Nestori Capital, which is a different private equity fund. But most of it right now is going to be based on agriculture. The first cohort for our accelerator will be somehow agriculturally based, whether it's ag business, animal husbandry, something that is our biggest export in this area. So go with what you know. But yeah, that's where we're at. So kind of watch this space. Working with Thomas Weeks on all the cool social media, the web pages and everything on that. And of course, working with my mentor, Jeff, to kind of get the back end of it. There's companies that take care of the back end of stuff like this for accelerators and for PE funds. So doing a lot of research and a lot of education on those. But otherwise, just watch this space for more information. If you have or you know of someone that has a great idea or is in the startup phase of something related to agriculture, have them reach out and get a hold of me, and we'll kind of see if they fit the demographic or fit the mold to be part of this first cohort. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great one.